This is Leng Feng. He has a few authority issues and can't always follow orders. That can be a problem when you are a sniper in the Chinese People's Liberation Army. His squad has been sent to the southern border by the authorities to assist the local police. There's a new gang running a massive drug trafficking operation in the area. The special forces are about to bust their lab just as they prepare to ship the next batch. Step 1 is a coordinated ballet to take down each sentry without alarming the others. Step 2 is to wait for the commander's signal, and then it's showtime. Everyone starts shouting and crying as they come in. Leng Feng is up on the roof, prepared to deal with any kind of surprise. The gang leader is a man named Wu Jai. He types a code on his phone, and the whole place goes up in flames. Then he takes advantage of the commotion to sneak out. Grabbing one of his own men, he holds him hostage and starts to ask for a car. At the operation base, some of the agents analyze the building. It was used to keep hazardous materials, so the walls are reinforced and bullets can't go through. They have other weapons, but it would be a catastrophe to use them in an urban area. So their commander orders a ceasefire, and the PLA soldiers try to negotiate with Wu Jai. They tell him to release the hostage first, and then they can debate all of his requests. Now, this might not be the brightest drug lord you've ever seen, but he's not that dumb either. So that approach fails miserably. No one notices that Leng Feng has left his position to get closer. His first shot comes whizzing very near the hostage's left ear. It makes a hole in the wall, but not all the way through. The commander starts to yell at him over comms, so he removes his earpiece to better concentrate. He fires again. Wu Ji is getting hysterical, and the hostage even more. Trying to de-escalate the situation, the agents say it was just an accident. That's when Leng Feng fires the third shot. This one makes it to the other side, and I don't mean just the wall. Despite the successful outcome, Leng Feng is now facing insubordination charges. At the hearing, he's asked to explain why he acted against direct orders. He explains there was no time to argue with his commander and his job is to neutralize the enemy. Clearly not afraid of the consequences, Leng Feng says he would do the same if that situation happened again. The last question is from a female officer. She wants to know how confident he was in that last shot. He says 50%. When she asks about the other 50%, he says it doesn't matter, now that he pulled it off. There is no other 50% anymore. That cheeky answer is what gets him locked up until further notice. Meanwhile, in Southeast Asia, another risky operation is underway. Minden is at his questionably decorated office when the police storm in. From his serene behavior, no one would say he's being arrested for drug trafficking, illegal weapon trade, and terrorist activities. Taken outside in handcuffs, he calmly stops for a cigar. A policeman reaches out to snatch it from his mouth, but a sniper in the bushes is faster than him. It turns out the property is surrounded by American mercenaries. Two of them are on a boat with a bazooka. They blow up the house with all the evidence in it. Minden peacefully stands right in the middle of the crossfire as the officers fall one by one. Then, one of his boys opens the handcuffs so that he too gets to play a little. Once that nuisance is out of the way, it's time for a memorial service. Remember Wu Ji, the drug lord? He was Minden's little brother. In fact, he was on the phone with him that day, calling to brag about his contribution to the family business. Minden told him to be careful. He could be surrounded by Chinese police at that very moment. He probably said that just to scare him because he was just as shocked to see it was really happening. His brother kept the phone with him all the time, so he got to watch everything, including his tragic end. At the funeral, he says his little brother has always been eager to prove himself, and that drove him to poor decisions. It doesn't mean his death should go unavenged. An American merc is tasked with this mission. They call him Tomcat. He laughs at Leng Feng's photo sitting on top of the cache. It's just a Chinese guy. Minden warns him not to underestimate China. He says it's the red zone for mercs like him. Slightly offended, Tomcat claims to be tougher than he might think. Back to Leng Feng. Our hero seems to be using his time in punitive confinement to exercise. But today he has a visitor. It's that female officer from before. Her name is Long Xiaoyan. She is the commander of the Wolf Warrior Detachment, a special unit trained to simulate foreign tactics and use them against the PLA as an exercise to make sure that Chinese soldiers are prepared for anything. It's the special force inside the special forces, not necessarily operating by the book. They could use a free spirit like Leng Feng. Commander Long offers him a drink, and he declines, saying it's against the rules. She replies that he is not a regular soldier anymore. She wants to see how many drinks it would take to impair his judgment. Laughing at the idea, he says that will never happen because he started drinking when he was 3. She must have liked that answer because Lang Feng makes it into the Wolf Warriors. His ride is a bit wild, but he seems to be having the time of his life up there. After they drop him off, several tanks start coming his way. One of them is really trying to get up close and personal, not stopping until almost reaching his face. Lang does not budge a single inch. He knows it's a test. So Shou Bing introduces himself. He is the deputy commander of Wolf Warrior Detachment. Explaining the name of their unit, he says wolves are strong together. A single wolf can't beat a lion, but a pack is invincible. This is why there is no room for lone wolves here. No showing off individual abilities. Before handing him over to Yu Fei, the squad commander, he says Wolf Warriors have 2 mottos. We are the best and be humble. Right, makes sense. Sometime later, we meet Brigade Commander Shai. He is the head of the Red Unit, which is how the regular soldiers are called during the exercises. The Blue Unit is the Wolf Warriors, who are now playing the part of foreign enemies. Someone asks Commander Shi why they are on the road and not in an operation room. He says it will be harder for the blue team to win this time if the red base is a moving target. Speaking of the blue team, the Wolf Warriors are now aboard an aircraft and also ready to get started. Lang Feng has been warned about the tradition of pranks on the new guys, but he falls for it anyway. When the others start talking about Commander Long, he says she's a strong woman, and strong women usually want to be conquered by a specific kind of man. So she asks him, overcomes, what kind of man is that? Lang Feng doesn't even blink. He says it's a man just like himself. The response comes right away as his ear gets fried, under everyone's roaring laughter. At the operation room, Commander Long is told that the red team has been detected. She gives the order to drop the bait and return to base. The red team detects a massive airdrop of parachuters. Commander Shi decides to open fire but finds out they can't. The whole thing was a trap to hack into their system and lock his team as the target of their own weapons. By now, the actual soldiers have been dropped nearby, and the exercise moves to the ground. The Wolf Squad approaches a regiment that seems to be a decoy, but Lang says they could be one step ahead, making their real camp look fake so they're not attacked. Yu Fei is mad at Lang for questioning his orders again, but he's actually right. Now it looks like the Red Force is about to win after all. Watching the action unfold, Commander praises Xiaobing and says he wants him in his own team. Once again, Lang Feng decides to disobey. He moves into the red camp, placing fake explosives under the vehicles. Shai and his team are shaken by the fireworks, and the commander is hit by Lang's purple shot as he leaves the vehicle. His men are baffled by the twist and start asking questions, but he reminds them that he can't answer, being dead and all. Commander Long is happy to hear the news. That's another win for the blue team, and so Lang Feng gets to sit back for a moment and have a snack. One of his teammates confesses he doesn't like being a wolf warrior so much. He joined the army for a real fight, and this feels like a game. The other one disagrees completely and says he'd prefer to be at home with his family. And then he shows us a picture of his 2-year-old daughter, which is a huge sign this guy won't make it to the end of the story. Thai chat is interrupted by sudden gunshots. Commander Xiao is running there with the bad news. They're not the only wolves in that area, and he's talking about the actual animal. The squad is soon surrounded by dozens of wolves. Remember what Xiao said before, right? The pack is invincible. Commander Long can see what's happening, and she tries to send a helicopter there, but they're still in exercise mode, and now the Red Forces have taken control of their command channels. Using a public channel, she sends a message to all units. It takes too long for the rescue teams to respond that way, but the boys end up fighting off the wolves by themselves and proving their pack's superiority. Sadly though, that's not the only thing they have to worry about. We can see Tomcat is already in Chinese soil, and he's celebrating how fast they found Lang Feng. On the next day, the wolf detachment is ambushed by the Americans in the woods. That soldier who had a picture of his child is their first casualty, of course. Lang Feng starts to scream that something is wrong, and this is not an exercise anymore. Commander Shi sends out a warning that foreign forces have crossed the border. He requests armed helicopters and live shell support. The Americans are split in 2 vehicles now. One of them starts mocking their opponents and says that Chinese tap water might kill them before their soldiers ever manage to. Now Tomcat has the opportunity to repeat a line he heard before in a mysterious way that makes him look wise and experienced, so he tells that guy not to underestimate China. Then a helicopter comes signs right above them with a recorded message, which basically says, "This is China. Get out now or else." That doesn't bother Tomcat at all. He has a plan. They fire at the chopper and it looks like they have missed, but then the pilot starts to experience problems up there. All exercises are suspended now. Red and blue forces are commanded to fight the mercs in actual combat. Commander Long says a call has been intercepted, and it had crucial information. These mercs are working for an international gangster named Minden, and their intel says the man has just crossed the border himself. Right now, in fact, Minden is at the spot where his brother died. Someone asks about Tomcat, and one of the goons says he's getting to know the mouse. And at the same time, the PLA is being briefed on Tomcat. He's a former US Navy SEAL who eventually joined an elite merc company. By now, Commander Shi has already worked out what's going on, including Deng's revenge against Leng Feng. But Commander Long is not so convinced. She thinks there might be more to it. Why would such a man come to China in person if his mercs are already engaging with the target? When that helicopter comes down, they see the pilot needs medical attention, and we find out what happened. The mercs used graphite powder to mess with the equipment, and it's not the kind of thing that dissipates quickly. So no aircraft can enter that area now. Commander Shi orders heavy artificial rain to clean the sky in 1 hour. Long works out what will be Tomcat's most likely next steps, and it involves an old minefield, which is still partially active. The fallen wolf's funeral is remotely led by Commander Shi, who urges the squad to locate the enemy before they can leave the country and get away with it. He tells them this is a provocation to the Chinese honor and should be treated as such. A bunch of parcels are dropped near them with weapons and an orange patch that says, "I fight for China." The body is transported by a chopper as the grieving pack hold back their tears. So they start hunting down the enemy, who are now strategically located and waiting for them with a rehearsed plan. The wolf squad is now crossing a shallow river, and a trap has been placed just below the surface. Some men get severely injured, and Tom tells his sniper to take this opportunity to hit Leng Feng. Another soldier gets in the way right after he fires and takes the hit instead. That alarms the entire squad about the camouflaged snipers, so they fire several rounds at once and get down fast. Leng asks where their own sniper is, but it's one of the men who have been hit. Someone tries to get to him to fetch the scope, but the merc sniper gets him too. The wolf sniper seems to be badly wounded and in a lot of pain, but he fears that more men will be at risk trying to save him. So he points the gun to his forehead while the others shout and beg him to stop. The merc sniper shoots the gun away from him. Now he can barely take it anymore, so he begs the other wolves to help him make it quick. Luckily, they hesitate for long enough to Leng Feng work out a plan. He shoots a tree trunk near the sniper until it gives in and falls, creating a safety barrier between them and the enemy sniper. And now he has a sniper scope of his own. So he coordinates with Long for a calculated attack that reveals the other sniper's position. Leng Feng takes him down, while Tomcat keeps setting up his home-away traps all over the place. In the control room, police have sent photos of Minden. He's in a meeting with the head of a biopharmaceutical company. 1 month before that, a disease prevention center was attacked and a huge amount of genetic data was stolen. It's the kind of material that could be catastrophic in the wrong hands, because it would make it possible to produce a virus that infects only the Chinese. So it turns out that Commander Long was right. Minden is buying a genetic weapon, and this little revenge plan is just a distraction. But that part is not really going according to plan. Leng Feng easily dodges all the traps and gets to Tom when he's just a few steps from the border. They start to fight, and Tom says Leng might not be the brightest man, but he is surely the bravest soldier he has ever met. Leng replies to such a heartfelt compliment by saying he can't speak English and did not get a word of that. Then Tom strips off the Chinese flag from his arm and laughs at the idea of fighting for a country. He says he's much wiser fighting for money. That's the last straw for Leng, and also Tom's last breath. When a medical team shows up, Len recognizes a scorpion tattoo he saw before. The hostage at the lab had the same one. The man is about to inject him with something, but Leng turns the tables on him. We see Min is also here disguised as PLA relief. He's about to cross the border with the precious suitcase, and his paramilitary forces are ready to welcome him. Leng Feng manages to get to him a split second before it's too late. Dozens of guns are pointed to our hero now, but his one gun is locked on too precious a target for anyone to dare a movement. And then several PLA helicopters approach, and he's suddenly not alone anymore. All the wolf warriors and hundreds of PLA soldiers have his back. Minden's men have no choice but to run away as he smokes his last cigar as a free man. And this is the end. This was a recap of the 2015 movie Wolf Warrior by Ul Jianmin, starring Wu Jing and Scott Adkins. So what do you think? Should Ling Feng have obeyed his superiors at all times? Was he just lucky, or did he know what he was doing? Let us know in the comments below with #CinemaRecap. Until next time.